So got 8 coaster credits here. We got this Morgan Hyper, which I'm not expecting much from, considering the other 2 Morgan Hypers that I've done. We got this Intamin Impulse coaster, which I always like these. And then we got this thing over here, which is that kind of like the whatever it is at Cedar Point that they claimed was a coaster but wasn't really. And speaking of things that are claimed coasters but aren't really, what the Six Flags, we got a Super Loop. Inside Valleyfair, technically 10 minutes before they officially open. Road Mad Mouse. I have to talk a little loud to get over the blaring music. It's very loud everywhere. This was a good Wild Mouse. It was made by Arrow, so of course it's going to be a good one. Arrow does everything great. I like the turns. And you even get some airtime on it, so it's a good ride. I enjoyed it. They run 8 trains, which is more than they need to. You sit on the brake run for a long, long time. So the line wasn't too long, but because you sit on the brake run for so long, waiting to scoot up to where the restraints would release, it turns into a very long wait back here. So yeah, I don't think they need to run more than 4 trains on this. Definitely don't need to be running 8. Road Cosmic Coaster, the kiddie coaster. And that was actually a lot of fun. It's kind of a basic layout for a kiddie coaster, but it's not jerky. It actually has some pretty good lateral force on the inner circle. Yeah, it's a fun ride. Definitely worth it, and you are allowed to ride it. So, say go for it. Get the credit, and it's actually fun. All right, I just rode High Roller. It is a wooden coaster. My notes say it is built by Rauerhorst. I have no idea how to pronounce that. This is a Rauerhorst wooden coaster, but it was built by Intamin, my notes say. So I don't know what that means. I guess whatever that is designed it, and then Intamin built it. That's my guess. Haven't done enough research on it, but it was a fun coaster. It's not really tall. It's not super tall or super fast, and it's also not like one of those little bitty wooden coasters. And it's a perfect in-between kind of wood coaster. Has a little bit of shake to it, but I'd say it's the perfect amount of shaking. It wasn't painful at all. Didn't jackhammer at all. Oh my goodness, what in the world? What, the time warp? A flying flat ride. That was a good coaster though. Had a lot of good airtime. I rode in the front and the back. Gives different airtime at different moments, whether you ride in the front or back. So I recommend trying both. And it is that 3-row setup. Each car has 3 rows. I haven't tried the middle row of a car because I did the very front and very back. I just rode Wild Thing, the Morgan Hyper. It was okay. I mean, it's not up to the level of B&M Hyper standards, but it is better than Mamba. I'd say maybe better than Steel Force at Dorney Park. I don't know. Have to think about that one. Just like Mamba, the first drop and the first big airtime hill gives pretty decent floater airtime. And the difference with this one is that instead of like just a regular helix, it does like a drawn out figure 8 section. So I don't know which one I like better, the figure 8 section or the helix. Now, Steel Force's helix was definitely better than Mamba's, had better visuals. But the final bunny hills on the return trip, as I said on Mamba, those bunny hills do nothing. Steel Force, you actually get some airtime on those final bunny hills. Wild Thing, you get some airtime, a little bit of airtime on those final bunny hills. And including one that goes into a tunnel. I did not know that was going to happen. That was pretty cool. We went into a dark tunnel for a second there. That's also where your picture's taken. It's a fun ride. Okay by hyper standards, but as far as overall coasters go, it's a good ride. I say by hyper standards, though, this is actually a very much a low end hyper. I can't wait to do Phantom's Revenge and see how that is, because Morgan's have been all right for me, but nothing special. But Phantom's Revenge will be next year if I'm able to get there. That's the plan, at least right now. One thing I'll say about Morgan's is that they are smooth rides. No rattle, no headache, nothing like that. Like I sometimes mention about the B&M rattle, can give me a little bit of a headache on the ones that have the rattle. No rattle, no problem on the Morgans. So it's always going to be a smooth, comfortable ride for me. Steel Venom. I'm a big fan of these Intamin Impulse coasters. I think they're a lot of fun. But this right here, I love that hold. I don't remember if V2 had it at Six Flags Great America or not, but I'll be heading there in a few days. I know the one at Dorney Park didn't have the hold. It is kind of cool without the hold too, but you get to do both. You go backwards twice, so the first time you don't hold, the second time you do. When you don't hold, you just get that floater airtime feeling all the way up and then all the way down, which is why I think the back row is the best. So I was at Dorney Park on an extremely busy Saturday earlier this year. And this ride had no wait at all. But here, it's about a 20-30 minute wait. On a Monday. What is going on? What is with my luck? Now there are a whole bunch of school groups here. Makes you wonder, it's July, why are there so many school groups here? I've just had the worst luck with the school groups. I did this Northern Lights thing that's in the background. It's about to finish its cycle. That's like the pipe scream at Cedar Point. And I did Delirious. So, those are coaster credits number, yeah, right. Six Flags wants to call this a coaster. Cedar Point wants to call that a coaster. Neither one of them are. But they are fun flat rides. And on a busy day where even Steel Venom has a 30-minute wait, those flat rides have no wait, so it was fun to do those. It reaches out, the splash reaches out into the walkway. So Renegade was coaster credit number 325 for me. Definitely a nice choice for that minor milestone number. It was a very good GCI. I think I would say that it is in the category of a Prowler or Mystic Timbers, but not quite as good as those. I don't know where exactly I would rank it. I'm thinking right now, the first ride I got on it, I was thinking maybe even better than Prowler. Now I'm thinking probably not as good as Prowler, not as good as Mystic Timbers, but it's in the same category. On subsequent rides, I counted the airtime. There were 12 airtime moments. Not as many as Prowler and Mystic. Those are about 16. But it is very good airtime, though, while it goes along. I love the zigzag drop. That is the coolest drop on any GCI I've been on for sure. You like start dropping one direction and then it turns you the opposite direction. That was such a great drop. And then you get an airtime hill after that that is really sustained floater airtime. Like you come out of your seat and you just stay out of your seat for a while, and that was really cool. Say the layout didn't seem as strong as the Prowler and Mystic Timbers. Still though, a very fun ride. Definitely the best in the park for sure. It does have a bit of it's got a bit of a line, about 25-30 minutes maybe. And I asked some locals and they said that the crowd today is about normal for a weekday. So if you're checking online, you're checking reports that say 5-minute waits on everything all day long, that is not true. That is what the app says. The app is even saying that right now, 5 minutes for everything, and it is not 5 minutes for everything. It's about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes for everything, which is not terrible. But if you were expecting this to be a small park that doesn't get much attendance and you're walking right up to the station all day long, it's not that kind of park. It's a fairly busy park, especially considering that it's a weekday and this is not a monster park with the biggest and baddest roller coasters on the planet like Cedar Point or something like that. So the crowd is bigger than what you would expect for what they have here. That's just my opinion. Along the lines of Cedar Point's Corkscrew, you got the single loop, airtime hill, then you turn into the double corkscrew. And the double corkscrews are out over the water, and then you end with the helix over the water. It's a fun ride. I love these old aero coasters. Excalibur's open. They open late. What I've been hearing from other YouTubers, I guess this is common for it to open late. So if you see it closed early, don't give up. Just come back later. I just rode Excalibur, so I have done all 8 coaster credits at this park at Valleyfair. It always feels good to have completed all the coasters in a park, especially whenever you only have one day to spend at it. And you don't know when and if you'll ever be back. This might be my second favorite ride in the park. So my favorite 2 rides in the park are in the back of the park. That's probably the only reason why this doesn't have much of a line, is because it's in the back of the park. So a couple more rides in, definitely a back row ride. Did the front and the back again. I did the very back row this time. And yes, definitely better airtime in the back. And it feels more forceful too. In fact, you might gray out on this. It's a really fun ride. So it's got the Got those nice positive forces and some negative forces. About 2 quality airtime moments, I would say, and a couple other mediocre airtime moments. But I mean, for something that's basically a mine train, but it's a giant mine train, it's really good by those standards. Just got Laurent Nord. Last ride of the night on Renegade. Didn't plan on staying here till closing, but it just worked out that way. Ended up getting 13 rides in total on Renegade. 9 in the last hour and a half. Sure. What's up? Yeah, we got last ride, but the empty train is coming around right now. Not completely dark, but it's getting there. 9 o'clock closing, not dark yet. So that'll do it from Valleyfair. It was a nice day. It was more crowded than I thought it would be, but lines didn't get too long. Waited 20-30 minutes at times for different rides. Actually, for a good chunk of the day, it was 20-30 minutes for pretty much every ride, which was odd because when you look online and you look at different things that post wait times and wait times for past days and stuff like that, you'll see everything listed at 5 minutes here pretty much every day. So leads you to think that you come on a weekday, it's going to be an empty park. It's not an empty park. It's not terribly crowded, but it's still not empty. So just, if that's something that you do, I do that at times with different parks. So if you do that too, and you're going to be led to think that this is going to be an empty park for you on a weekday. So just wanted to pass that along to you. There will be people here. It will be crowded, but it may not be too terrible. I talked to some locals that said that this actually was not that bad of a day, that it can definitely get worse, especially on weekends, but even on weekdays too. But I guess it is a populated area with Minneapolis and St. Paul right here, and there's not a whole lot else around, I guess. But whatever it is, it draws crowds. It draws a lot bigger crowds than you'd think. So just take note of that. You're not going to have an empty park, but if you can stick around open to close, you'll get a lot done. Last hour and a half or so, the lines really thinned out. And I was able to get 13 rides on Renegade, and I got 3 or 4 on several others. But Renegade's the star of the show.